Good morning, traders. I'm Emily Advani, the CEO of the Investment Banking Institute and your host here at NewsWare's Trade Talk. Joining me is trading anchor Bill Olson, who brings more than 30 years of institutional trading experience to our program. At Trade Talk, we provide the facts, themes, and trading ideas for the day ahead. Today is Tuesday, August 19th. Markets continue to look for direction today following a muted start to the week. Stocks ended mixed during regular trading yesterday, but closed near flatline. The Nasdaq added just 6 points or 0.03%. The S&P 500 gave up less than a point. The Dow shed 34 points or 0.08%. Bill, let's get into today's action with what is happening in the markets this morning.
Hi, yes. Good morning. I'm watching the S&Ps. We're down 0.08%, almost a tenth of 1%. But the action is very muted. The action is very muted this morning. There are some pockets of activity, but overall, we're not seeing a lot of volatility this morning. I mean, we did have those talks between Trump and the various European leaders yesterday, and they appear to have been positive. I mean, the easiest way to say that they're positive is to look at oil. Oil is trading lower and defensive stocks are trading lower. That tells you that they expected those talks to have had a positive outcome. But talk about the pockets of activity. We got to talk about shares of Intel. Intel is higher this morning as Softbank is making a $2 billion investment in the chip maker. Medtronics, MDT, Michael David Tom, their shares are higher as well. Elliott is taking a stake in the company, and they're going to be giving up some board seats apparently. Palantir, mentioned cautiously again at Citron Research. That's not good for the stock. But on the economic front, I mean, we got Michelle Baumann is speaking today, and she's one of the candidates, leading candidates for the Federal Reserve job when that comes up later this year or early next year. Powell's term doesn't end until May of 2026. But she is on that lead. We'll have to see what she has to say. And tomorrow we get the Fed meeting minutes. That could be something. On to earnings overnight, they were mainly positive. PANW, Palo Alto Networks came in good. FN, Frank Nancy was good. And this morning, Home Depot, take a look at Home Depot, ticker HD, stocks trading higher after earnings. Interesting. After the bell today, you got Keysight Technologies, ticker KEYS. You got Toll Brothers, ticker TOL. And then tomorrow morning, TJ Maxx, ADI, Lowe's, LOW, Target, TGT, SC Lauder, ticker EL, and BIDU are all scheduled to report. So that's going to be kind of interesting when we get those reports tomorrow morning. Then we're, kind of taking a look over at Europe to see the action over in Europe. And, for the most part, I got to tell you, it's positive. We're looking at the positive action in Europe. We're looking at the DAX, and the DAX is trading higher this morning. That's nice to see. I mean, what do we get the DAX at? The DAX is higher by, 50 points or 0.21%. Auto stocks are higher. Defense stocks are weakening there in Germany. In the FTSE's up 31 points or 0.35%. You got positive momentum in healthcare, financials, and telecom. In France, the CAC in Paris is up 0.85%. Broad-based gains across several sectors, strength in luxury, consumer goods, aerospace, and industrials, all helping that market move a little higher this morning. Asia kind of weakened overnight. You look at the Nikkei, it fell 0.38% or 168 points. Financial stocks continued to show some weakness. In Hong Kong, the market slipped 0.21%. Financial stocks, consumer stocks fell. But, in China was flat. I mean, it was down 0.02%. Sentiment remains positive, though, because, you get that easing of trade tensions with the U.S. You get the PBOC meeting tomorrow where they're expected to get some sort of stimulus. So, it might have been, it's muted to flat, but the sentiment is positive for the Shanghai market. And then we're taking a look at oil this morning, and oil is trading lower. WTI is trading at $62.89, and Brent is trading at $66.08. They were down about 1%. Now they're down about 0.8 of 1%. The primary reason for the weakness this morning is the developments of the, surrounding the Russian-Ukraine talks that occurred yesterday. Any resolution would probably include the lifting of sanctions on Russian energy exports, which would allow Russia's crude oil to trade more freely. So that would weaken prices. But yeah, that's what I have for you in terms of a morning market update, Emily.
Bill, as you pointed out, action, and news events are sort of muted, but there are these pockets of activity that you've pointed to, including earnings action. We're still keeping track of economic events as we're waiting those Fed meeting minutes, and we're waiting Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell to speak later in the week. And of course, there's other corporate news, and you're following all of it using your NewsWare. We will turn first to earnings action. You gave us a preview, but let's dive in, Bill. What is going on in terms of earnings action?
We got to start off with Palo Alto Networks, PANW. They beat by 6 cents, and they did it on, but they only met revenue expectations. And then you got ticker FN, Frank and Nancy. This is FaberNet. They beat by 2 cents on higher revenue. Not good enough. The stock's down 9.22%. I was cautious on this one yesterday. I mean, it was it just seemed that the stock had gotten ahead of itself. That's what I'm saying. And then you got Medtronic, ticker MDT, Michael David Tom. They beat by 3 cents on higher revenue. Its stock's trading a little lower. It's trading down 3.89% this morning. Upcoming after the bell today, we got Keysight Technologies, ticker KEYS. Keys, their EPS is $1.68. Expected new move is 9.18%. Then you have Toll Brothers, TOL, Tom Oscar Larry. Their EPS is $3.59. Expected move is 8.87% when they release after the bell today, Emily.
Bill, another company that reported earnings that you did mention in your opening was Home Depot. That was your pick of the day yesterday. The stock is trading higher after their release, and by the end of the show, we'll do a check in on that. Now to the day's economic events. A couple of reports to be watching here, and you gave us a heads up that Federal Reserve Governor Michelle Baumann is speaking. So, what is going on in terms of the day's economic events?
Well, at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Time, you get housing starts and building permits. That's really the key report for the day. 10 a.m. you get e-commerce retail sales. At 4:30 after the bell, you get the API oil stockpiles report. And yeah, at 2:10 today, Fed Governor Michelle Baumann, she will be speaking. She's talking at a CME Group event. She's expected to discuss her economic outlook. Recently, she emphasized the shifting economic conditions, suggesting the need for a more gradual move of monetary policy from moderately restrictive to a more neutral stance to preserve the labor market and support economic growth. But we'll have to see what she has to say this afternoon. But she's speaking, and it's going to be a highlight for today, Emily.
Bill, you'll be following all of those using your economic alert for Newsware. You also have alerts that you've set up for any Fed action, those Fed officials' commentary coming out on that front. Of course, you have an alert for those earnings releases, and you still have alerts for other types of data, news, and information. So each morning, you're following things like merger news, guidance news, shareholders meetings, buyback news, and catalyst calls. You're looking at your stocks grouped together like your FANG stocks and your Dow 30 stocks. So, Bill, what else do you see is possibly moving the markets today?
I'm just doing a quick data check. I'm looking at my Dow stocks. I got 17 higher, 12 lower, and one unchanged. So, that's a positive start. And then taking a quick peek at, the FANG stocks, they're all moving lower. That's a little concerning to me. So I don't think we're going to have a positive opening. But you look at some of the news behind the tape, like Amazon, um, ARM Holdings, they reportedly, hired an AI chip the director from Amazon to help build up their in-house chips. Meta Platforms, Texas Attorney General is investigating Meta for misleading children with deceptive AI-generated mental health services. Tesla launched the six-seater Model Y in China. That's positive. In terms of Dow Jones 30 stocks, we got to talk about NVIDIA, NVDA. They're said to be working on a new chip for China that's more powerful than the H20. Apple UK regulators have dropped their request to provide a backdoor on user data from Apple. In terms of guidance news, FaberNet, ticker FN, they see Q1 EPS coming in $2.75 to $2.90. Street estimates $2.74. Little, not good enough guidance raise. Palo Alto Networks, PANW, they see Q1 adjusted EPS 88 cents to 90 cents. Street estimate added at 85 cents. That's an uptick. In terms of buyback news, ORI, Oscar Richard India, Old Republic, they announced a 750 million share repurchasing program. That's what I have for you in terms of news in the tape this morning.
This is the type of data that NewsWare delivers daily. It's factual, it's market moving, and our alerting functions bring it to your attention as it happens. Go to www.newsware.com now and sign up for the trial and see for yourself the benefits that professional Newswire delivers. We've now made it to that time of the show for the Trade Talk pick of the day. Bill, what do you have for us today?
Going with ticker DY, David Yellow, Dycom Industries. Earnings are out tomorrow morning. EPS is $2.86. Expected move is 11.18%. Okay, let's take a look at the call volume yesterday. 718 calls traded to just 75 puts. Very skewed to the call side. Open interest, 1,940 calls versus 436 puts. Again, very skewed to the call side. Major brokers are positive. They are raising price targets. They do like the stock, and they have a backlog of orders. In terms of an entry price, I gotta tell you, I'm looking to get in. 270. I'm going to say 270, 275. But if I can get in at 270, that would be a steal. As far as an entry price, I'll say 270, 275, and that's my pick of the day, Emily.
Another earnings play today. And as I pointed out earlier in the show, you did have an earnings play yesterday. And coming up, we will do a recap on that pick of the day before we sign off. But ahead of that, let's take a look at the current breaking headlines that have hit the tape in our Hot Off the Press segment. Bill, take it away.
CWD, Calber's Pure signs a 10-year agreement with Wolfgang Puck Catering. Trump on war in Ukraine thinks Zelensky and Putin doing okay. Ticker YOU, Clear Secure to launch eGate pilot program at select U.S. airports. Massimo, ticker MASI, Massey, they get a FDA clearance for expanded indication. Home Depot sees modest price movements as consumers deferring larger purchases. Sinclair Broadcasting, they're going to be looking to merge their TV business with Tegna, Tegna. Walmart has their earnings coming out Thursday morning. That's all I'm seeing this morning, Emily.
Okay, Bill, before we sign off and get to trading on this Tuesday, let's do that check-in on yesterday's pick of the day. It was Home Depot. As you told us, the company did report earnings. It reported a Q2 EPS of $4.68. That was below analyst estimates of $4.72. Revenue for the quarter came in at $45.3 billion versus the consensus of $45.44 billion. So missing slightly there as well. The retailer said that comparable sales rose 1%. The company credits the higher sales in the second quarter and said consumers are continuing to tackle small home improvement projects even as they delay larger ones due to high interest rates and economic uncertainty. Speaking of higher, the stock is higher this morning. Bill, how did your call work out?
Worked out. You just got to take a look at the numbers. Stock opened up at 397.57. It fell down to 392.78. Now, I was using a 395 entry point. The stock wound up closing at 394.70. But you look at the stock this morning, it's already hit 401.25. I mean, it's currently trading 399.54. So if you use my entry point of 395, that's more than 1%. So the 1% beat was there. You could have grabbed it. So Home Depot today. The Home Depot pick from yesterday was a winner.
It was a winner, grabbing that 1%, and we will check in with you tomorrow about today's Dycom Industries pick of the day. Bill, thank you as always for your expert insight. Join us back here tomorrow and each weekday morning at NewsWare's Trade Talk when we provide the facts, themes, and trading ideas for the day ahead. Again, I'm your host, Emily Bonney, here with trading anchor Bill Olson. Traders, you know what to do. Let's go out there and make some green.